Hello, welcome to the Old Man's Shop. My name's James, and I'm the old man in the Old Man's Shop. This is an introduction to a project that am going to call Lee's Lamp. Lee is my younger brother, and he was born on today, July 17, 62 years ago in 1958, which makes him 62. So he's following me into geezerhood, but not quite as fast as I'm heading into geezerhood, which is a good thing. When Lee was born, we were living in a small town in North Dakota called Langdon. It's still a very small town in North Dakota because even the largest city in North Dakota would be considered kind of a small town. I think the largest city is either Fargo or Grand Forks, and I believe the population would be under 100,000 people today. I don't think there's probably close to maybe a million people total in the entire state. So, not the biggest place or the most populous place in the world. It's actually fairly large by land area, at least probably in the top 20, but certainly not by population by a long shot. Anyway, when Lee was born, our father, Sam Glasgow, decided to make a lamp to commemorate Lee's birth. And he built this lamp in a small shop he had in the house we were living in Langdon. And that shop was not super well equipped. He had some hand tools. I believe he had a handheld Black& Decker back when Black& Decker was not a brand that we all laugh at. Quarter-inch drill, obviously corded, battery-powered tools were not a thing back then. And he did not have table saws and planers and all those things, although in the house that I lived in with him previously, which was in Grafton, North Dakota, he did have some of that equipment. It apparently didn't move to Langdon with us. I don't remember ever seeing it there. So he was pretty limited in what he could do to make a lamp. And the way he made the lamp was he took a couple of sets of children's building blocks or play blocks. These were about 2-inch cube blocks with letters and pictures and things on them, which were a popular toy for the 1 to 3 or 4-year-old set, maybe even a little older, because you could throw them at people or whatever, I guess, when you got older. They actually still make block sets like that, although the ones that I've seen that are new are printed on the sides, whereas the ones that we had back then had two sides, which I'm going to call the front and the back, that were engraved or carved. And that actually was a fairly complicated thing back in that day. They didn't have, production CNC machines, but they were pretty resourceful with mechanical devices to do repetitive work, and they would probably have built these using a automatic template router, which would have followed a template to carve out the areas. By the way, that kind of tool still exists, and I believe you can still either buy them or there are plans available to build your own. And I believe on several videos on YouTube that describe that. Anyway, I went out and looked around to see if I could get antique sets of building blocks, because what I wanted to do was duplicate exactly what my dad had done for Lee, which was to, like I said, to build this lamp out of those kind of blocks. Now, the lamp itself, and you'll see more about this in later episodes, consisted of a 1 block high base and then a central column, which was, if I remember correctly, and then doing some figuring based on the dates and other things that I have to put into the design, about 8 to 9 blocks high for the column. And then it had a standard pull chain light socket with obviously probably a 60-watt bulb in it. Obviously, the column was drilled and then drilled into the base to run the cord, so you could plug it in and have actually use it as a lamp, which is its purpose. The great thing about this lamp is it was, like I said, a commemorative thing built for Lee's birth, and so it had on the front of the column, the blocks spelling out July and then 17, which was Lee's birthday. There wasn't really anything else on it at that point, except his name, which was also done with blocks. Now, the unfortunate thing is I can't show you this lamp because it doesn't exist anymore, as near as I know. I did check to see if anybody had seen it, and it hasn't been seen for a long time. I think it's, like I said, we were in Langdon. We then moved to Boise, Idaho. And then from Boise, Idaho, we moved up to Pullman, Washington. And then I went off to university, but my family then moved to Chelan, Washington, which I think was the next to last move. My dad was there for a number of years. And then when he retired, they moved to Moses Lake. And then for a short time, leading up to, my dad's death, they lived in the Seattle area. My stepmom, my dad did. And then I think they moved to Iowa to stay with my younger sister, Mary Jo, for a while. And I think that is where Sam passed away. So a lot of moves that were going on, and the lamp got lost. It was, I think, one of the coolest things that my dad built for a member of his family, and always kind of missed that it didn't exist anymore. So for Lee's birthday this year, his 62nd, I am going to duplicate the lamp. Now, there are some interesting issues about duplicating this lamp. Number one issue is, of course, it doesn't exist, so I'm doing it entirely by my memories of the lamp. I have no plans for it. I doubt if Sam actually did even do a drawing of what it was going to look like. I believe that he just got an idea in his head and went down to the local store and bought a couple of sets of blocks and then put it together with some glue. And I told you he had the 1/4-inch Black & Decker drill, and I used that to drill the holes through all of them so he could put the wires through. And that was probably pretty much it. So some, I would say he was using Elmer's glue, but at the time, he probably wouldn't have done gluing up of wood projects with Elmer's glue. He would have probably used another glue that was available and very popular at the time, which was called Weldwood. It was a powder glue. I'm not sure if it's even available. It wasn't not too many years ago. I did see it. But it certainly would not compete with modern adhesives. But he probably used that to glue it up. And not sure what he used for clamps because I don't remember him having a lot of clamps. I think he may have had a couple of clamps, or he figured out some other way to hold it together while it was being glued up. But anyway, I'm pretty interesting project and with some design complexities for getting the wires and everything through with the limited tools he had. So when I got the idea to duplicate this to literally as kind of an art project, because it will not obviously be an exact duplicate, I have my memories, and my memory is actually pretty good, even for an old guy. So I know a lot about what it looks like and the colors and everything, but I don't have an exact, I don't even know if there's any pictures of it. I haven't been able to find any pictures of it at all. And looking, I do have some pictures from that time, but not a lot of them. My family didn't take a lot of pictures. The only camera they had was an old Kodak Brownie, so-called because it was brown, which was a 120 film point and shoot camera. That's actually a fairly large format negative. But the cost of film developing and printing and other things was expensive, and then flash bulbs. And I don't remember, except on very special occasions like birthdays and Christmas and things, taking a lot of pictures. Anyway, I digress. Going back to what we're going to do in this project, which is to duplicate this really interesting lamp and bring back some family history, or at least an homage to some family history. I am going to, from scratch, recreate this lamp. And I'm going to do it based on my memories and try and make it as close to what Sam created, because it's also in honor of him and his creativity, and from a much younger point in his life. But I can't get the blocks that he was able to get. I've looked in antique stores; they just aren't available. So I'm going to have to go ahead and literally recreate the materials. So I'm going to manufacture 40 to 50 2 by 2 by 2 wooden blocks that look just like what children's toy blocks would have looked like back in that day, with the bright colors, the red, the yellow, blue, green, and orange. I'm going to carve out the letters on 2 of the sides, which I'll call the front and the back. And I am going to do the other 4 sides the way they were at that point, which is they had small pictures of dogs and cats and sheep and cows, and also some numbers and math symbols or arithmetic symbols, plus and equal. I believe they even had a little X for time, so you could set up a little problem like 2, the multiply symbol, 3, an equal, and then the child could find the 6 and complete the equality, kind of a little early learning tool, which probably, you get some mental learning about arithmetic as well as hand-eye coordination. Probably a pretty good thing for that time. Remember, no TV, no video games. So the plan is that I'm going to do a video on each of the steps of the process of building this lamp. Creating the blank wood blocks, the engraving and the blocks, and putting the images on the sides, which will be done by CNC, so it'll be CNC carving and CNC laser engraving. The painting of them, the assembly of the lamp, finally the packaging and the shipping of the lamp to Lee for his birthday. And I hope he enjoys it, because I think it'll be quite a bit of fun to have. And a bit of bringing back a bit of family history. I don't know if anybody else in the world would ever want to build a lamp like this. Again, you'd have to do the whole process, because the blocks, as near as I can find, are are not readily available. I didn't see them in any of the places that I was able to get to. Not to point out that this is July in the Seattle area in 2020, and of course, lots of places are closed down because of the pandemic. Maybe if I had everything was wide open and I could have gone to some of the more specialized stores, I could have found actual modern versions of the blocks that I needed. But you know, getting to build them, and it gives me more usage of time and having things to do. And at this time is keeping my mind occupied and not trying to sit in front of TV. And I don't have a TV, so that would be really hard. Is a good thing. So anyway, there will be additional parts to this series where I'll go through each of the steps. And at the end, I'm hoping that Lee will send me some video of him opening the lamp and looking at it, and I hope he likes it. So take care, everybody, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.